Hello everyone, my name is Steven and I am a first year dental student. Really quickly before I get going in this video, I apologize if you can hear any sort of strange background noise. There is construction going on like right outside of my apartment and it's kind of annoying, but apologies for that. I know that it is interview season for dental school and med school and vet school, and that a lot of young students are out there right now preparing for interviews and just trying to get ready for a nerve-wracking experience that we all go through in order to be accepted into these health science programs. And this has been a video that I've wanted to make for a long time, just talking about my experience interviewing at the school that I would end up going to. So just to lay that out real quickly, I am a first year dental student at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center in Memphis. I have a lot of valuable insights, I think they're valuable, about my experience in getting into UT and sort of the process that I went through and sort of tips and tricks that I have. So I thought about the interview process, and I think one way to make this video would be to sort of lay out like 5 or 10 tips and tricks or things to know for the interview. But I decided to go against that, and I wanted to make this video a little bit more informal and just sort of tell the story of my interview. And I think that there's a lot of valuable insights to gain from a more informal video like this. So we'll get right into it. I interviewed last year in August, and also I wanted to point out, if you're interviewing now in 2020, you're most likely going to be interviewing over Zoom. Online on your computer, and that is an experience that's much different than the one I had. I had a traditional interview experience where I went into the school, I sat in front of multiple professors, and I spoke with them about my experiences and my aspirations and what I was looking for in the dental field. And so it's definitely different now that things are strange with the pandemic. And I understand that we're all dealing with this in every aspect of our lives. So maybe it's good for you. Maybe it's going to benefit you being able to do it at home on your computer. But that's something that, like I said, not super familiar with. But I'll tell my story about the way it was last year. So the first thing was that I didn't really do any interview prep. I looked at a couple things, and I sort of familiarized myself with the possible questions that I might be asked. But in general, I didn't do like any courses on interview prep. I didn't watch a whole lot of videos. I just sort of prepared in my own way, which was to familiarize myself with my application, and I think that ended up being a very good decision because, and certainly I can only speak really for Tennessee, but the questions that were asked to me in my interview were pretty generic questions about my experiences. So it helped me to be very familiar with my application. I was asked about my service experiences, my dental shadowing experiences, and then a lot of my general undergrad experiences, both in the classroom and outside of that. So for me, what I did was I had a couple of my service experiences that were my favorite and that were the most important to me and that I could talk about for a while. And those were the ones that I sort of highlighted when they asked me what service I did. And it was interesting because they had my application like literally in their hands as they were asking me these questions, and so they could see all the service that I had done and things of that nature, but they were still asking me about it because they wanted to hear me speak, and they wanted to kind of just understand what about the service and the experiences that I had in my pre-dental days, what about those experiences was important to me. And I think that was kind of overall the entire objective of the interview was to get to know me and to sort of understand a little bit more about who I am and my motivations. So I didn't do a whole lot of prep. I sort of went into it with an open mind and just kind of, I was gonna deal with whatever was thrown at me when it was thrown at me. So my interview was in August of last year, and it was very hot in Memphis, Tennessee. But this leads me to my next point, and that was that just sort of like the general prep. If you're watching this in the future and your interview is in school, like in person at school, you're going to be traveling to the school. You're gonna probably be staying in a hotel or something like that, maybe a friend's house, family member's house if there's one nearby. And then your interview is most likely gonna be in the morning. So for me, I drove to Memphis with my dad, and we stayed in a hotel a few blocks down from the school. And the morning of, I woke up with terrible nightmares that I had overslept and that I was gonna miss my interview. And this is just ridiculous. It happens to me a lot, and I think it probably happens to other people too, but sometimes I have terrible dreams about things going horribly, and they're usually school related. So that just shows you that the stress is real when it comes to school. But I can just try to tell you, sit here right now and tell you that you do not need to be stressed out about this. This is a really positive experience, and it's going to be a really good memory, hopefully, in your life. So do not do what I did, which was have horrible nightmares about sleeping through my interview, which of course didn't happen. I woke up the morning of and got ready. I wore a gray suit with a white button-down shirt and a nice simple tie. I can't really speak for the ladies out there as far as what you should wear. The girls that were in my interview mostly all wore the same thing. It was sort of like a black suit with a white shirt. And so I'm not really sure exactly what to wear if you're a female, but there's a lot of videos out there. For men, just keep it simple and make sure that you're very tidy. I got a haircut like right before my interview. I was very clean shaven. My shirt was pressed, my tie was really crisp. Everything was just like in place and looked nice. And I think that that's really important, and it may sound kind of anecdotal for me to talk about your appearance, but like that's your first impression. The way that you walk in, or the way that you show up on Zoom and sort of show your presentation, that's the first thing that they're going to think about when they see you, and that's just natural. That's human nature. So I was very particular with what I wore. I kept it simple and I kept it clean, and I think that was good. So my interview format at UT was 2 separate 10-minute interviews, which was very, very quick. I thought they were going to be a lot longer. They ended up being very quick and rapid, which was kind of a different experience than what I was expecting. The first of those 2 interviews was sort of like a personal interview or a personality interview, and that's when I was asked about a lot of my experiences outside of school, and also asked some of the questions like, what do you do to handle stress, or what do you do in your free time? And so really, like, it's just an opportunity for you to talk about yourself, and this is where it gets interesting. I personally am able to talk about myself, and I'm able to speak and articulate pretty well, but not a lot of people have that ability, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't come naturally to everybody. So I think the way to combat that is in the months or weeks leading up to your interview, just try to speak more, and that can literally be to yourself in your room. I know this sounds really weird, but sometimes just speaking and just like getting your thoughts out into the world, even if you're alone, like it really helps when you go to articulate your thoughts. And everybody knows about their own lives, and they know their experiences better than anyone else. So it shouldn't be too hard to talk about the things that you've done and the things that are important to you. The second of the 2 interviews for me was the academic interview, and that's when we got into like the strict details about my coursework, my grades, my DAT. And that was also a good interview for me because I was able to discuss some of the strides that I took in undergrad. I think in my undergrad experience, I changed a lot, and my approach to school and to studying changed with my experience as I went forward. And that was a really good talking point for me, just to be able to describe how I improved and how I got better in from freshman year all the way through when I graduated. It was a good interview, and I think that one went really well for me. But just like that, I was finished with my interviews for UT, and the rest of the day was spent, we had like a big tour of the school. There were older dental students that were around. I encourage you to try to reach out to them and talk if they're available. Just try to get like all of your questions out and speak to the people that know it best. I say this a lot, but older folks that are in dental school, like D2s, 3s, 4s, those are the people that really can help you with anything. And if they're around and they're present during your interview, that means they want to help and they want to field your questions. So don't be afraid to reach out and talk to them. Also, don't be scared to talk to the people around you that are interviewing with you. This sounds kind of weird, but like when you're at school in the interview, you kind of do have eyes on you at all times. I mean, you're on campus for a certain number of hours, probably 4 or 5 hours, and that they're going to be looking the whole time to see just how you act, how you interact with other people. So if there are other students around you that you're interviewing with, try to talk to them. Try to just ask them about undergrad, where'd you go to school, you know, how'd you pick dentistry? Like all these basic questions, and spark up some conversations. And you never know, you might meet one of your future best friends in your dental class. So for me, I think my interview experience went very well, and it was great because part of the reason that I love this school so much, that I love UT, is that the environment is very open and welcoming. It is competitive, but at the same time, everybody here wants to harbor good dentists, and they don't want to make this experience all about trying to outcompete other people. And so when I went to my interview, the objective of the faculty that were conducting the interview was, we want to get to know you, please don't be nervous. And that was just a great thing for me. I was a little bit nervous, but I wasn't like freaking out completely. I think there were definitely moments in my life, probably all sports related, where I was more nervous than I was before my dental school interview. But it is kind of a scary process, and I understand why it's daunting, and that's probably why you're here at this video. But that's a good thing. You're here because you're prepping and you're getting ready, and I think that each and every one of you is going to do fantastic on your interview. The one thing, if I can give you one takeaway to take from this video, it's that you need to be honest when you go into your interview. Don't go in there and say things that you haven't done. There are a lot of horror stories that I've heard about people saying things that they didn't actually do in undergrad, and then the teacher like calling them on it, and they're sitting there like, I didn't actually do it. So just be honest. Each person that's applying to dental school is doing it for a reason, and if you got an interview, you have plenty of attributes on your application. You've done plenty of good things, so just be confident in yourself. And don't worry about trying to blow the professors away. They have seen a lot of really good and talented students, and it's not your job to be the next Einstein. What you want to show is that you are honest, you're excited about dentistry, and you're ready to do the work. And those are things that I think you can display by being confident and just sort of just talking about your experiences in an honest and open way. And that'll do it for you. So guys, I think I covered pretty much everything about my interview. Like I said, it's pretty informal. I just wanted to kind of tell the story about what happened with me. Like I said, my interview with UT went just about as good as an interview can go, and I understand that they don't always go that way. But just remember that your interview is important, but it's not necessarily make or break. I think that you're in that position because you've done a lot of good things in undergrad, and so you should be proud and happy that you're in this position. So if you are in 2020 and you're on Zoom doing your interviews, good luck. I'm not entirely sure how that process is going to work for each of you. I know that doing school online, doing dental school online has definitely been interesting for me. So it might be a bit of a change for you to do an online Zoom interview, but good luck, best of luck to each of you. Also, if you're in the future, hopefully we're all back in person doing everything together like things always have been. But yeah, that's it guys. If you want to see more from me in the future, please subscribe and like this video. Tell me that you enjoyed it and that it helped you, and I will get going on future videos. So thank you guys, and I will see you next time.